Good morning, Minnesota DFLers, and welcome to the DFL Daily. Richard Carlbaum here, chair of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. We're here every day, Monday through Friday at 10:45, giving you the message, the action, and the tools to take one more concrete step toward winning big in the 2026 midterm election this November. Last night, President Trump gave a primetime speech to complain about his same old grievances, while his war of choice in Iran continues and prices for families skyrocket because of his policies. Steve Simon put it best, quote, President Trump's speech was just the same old recycled and debunked grievances, nothing more than another attempt to corrode well-earned faith in our elections. It won't work, unquote. Well said, Steve Simon. It's why he and Minnesota Republicans are lining up behind Mike Lindell for governor, who went on TV after the address and said, quote, we're being protected now, unquote. He loved this speech. He welcomed Trump's endorsement. And if elected governor, he'll be a carbon copy of the Trump administration well past 2028. Once again, the choice for Minnesota couldn't be more clear. Okay, before we get into today's topic, we have some upcoming events in the days ahead. Please remember to take proper precaution if going outdoors this weekend. It's going to be hot and it still may be smoky. We'll link an air quality tracker in the chat so you can check your area and make an informed decision. As you know, we've shifted a lot of our door knocking into apartment buildings on the coordinated campaign in order to keep pace. We need to still be talking to voters as much as possible, but sometimes it's just not safe. So we are taking and making adjustments as well. In order to stay safe, we're highlighting some coffee and conversation events you can attend indoors this weekend, starting Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. in St. Michael, where SD30 DFL is hosting a coffee break. At 9 a.m. Saturday, head to Coon Rapids for the SD35 coffee and conversation. You can also Saturday at 9:30 join the Neighborhood Network Coffee Chat in Apple Valley. And Sunday morning, we head back up to Elk River for coffee and conversation at 10:30. To close out the weekend. Also, as you know, the State Central Committee is meeting in Waconia at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Early vote is happening for the August 11th primary. You need to get out and vote if you haven't voted already. I talked to somebody who voted yesterday. It took very little time, in and out in 7 minutes. Please go support Amy Klobuchar for governor, Peggy Flanagan for U.S. Senate. If you live in the 2nd District, support Matt Little. If you live in the 8th District, support Trina Swanson. We have to get out there and support our endorsed candidates and make sure we do everything we can to get them onto the general election ballot. All right. We talk about this all the time. A win for Minnesota families starts with people showing up for their neighbors long before any ballot is cast. Over the past year, DFLers have fought for and delivered real wins for working Minnesotans. We stood up for Minnesota families against federal overreach, preventing, investigating, and prosecuting fraud, and working to make your life more affordable. Those wins have happened because our communities are organized and we elected people to public office who share our values and stand up to protect families. They build on our shared progress over the past few years, such as expanding food shelf funding and bringing free school meals to our kids across the state, growing the now nation-leading child tax credit, capping costs on medication like insulin, investing in mental health across the state, especially in greater Minnesota, and then passing and launching paid family medical leave, and finally working to bring down housing and childcare costs as well. There's a common thread here, and that is a commitment to your basic needs. That's what Democrats have focused on in the past, and that's what we're going to focus on in the future. The things that make a big difference in your day-to-day life, like healthcare, groceries, some more breathing room to get by. And that's exactly what Republicans have spent years trying to take away. We spoke a bit about it on Tuesday about what we're up against. Republicans cut $1 billion in funding to feed American families with their big, beautiful betrayal of a bill. They hiked up your insurance premiums, and Trump chose to start an unnecessary war that costs your family hundreds of dollars more each month just to get your groceries and your gas and drive yourself to work and your kids to school. More and more Americans are visiting food shelves during this time of incredible need. They're often the first place a family turns when things get tight. And food shelf demand in our state is up 250%. Last year, we hit 9 million visits, an all-time high. It takes all of us to fight against this. While our elected DFLers are working at the Capitol to bring you meaningful change, so many of you are organizing in your communities in an incredible way around the same values. That's who we are as Minnesotans. When people try to take us down, we organize and we come to each other's aid. You've stood up time and again to say enough is enough with this affordability crisis. You delivered meals to your neighbors during the ice surge, and so many of you are using that same muscle to make sure your neighbors don't go hungry as Trump makes life more and more expensive. That is the work. And it only happens because of every single one of you. So thank you. Tomorrow we're going to bring this work to Waconia by serving as a collection point for Gather and Grow. It's a food shelf and in the Waconia area, and a connection center serving that community, those communities, Waconia, Watertown, and the surrounding communities. Along with food and personal care items, they offer employment and budgeting services, nutrition classes, and mental health support groups for families in times of need. They have a whole range of support to help families get back on stable footing. Your organizing power is going to make a big difference for them, especially as they've faced increased demand. It's another win we can deliver together. And let's be clear. Senator Julia Coleman represents this area, and she's made life more expensive for her constituents. Tom Emmer represents this area, and he's made life more expensive for his constituents. We are doing this because they're harming their constituents. So here's the action and tool for the day. Find a way to plug in with Gather and Grow or your local food shelf. If you're attending the State Central Committee meeting tomorrow, please bring something to donate. We're asking every attendee to do this. Again, the items that they're asking for: 100% juice, fruit cups, cereal, canned chicken or tuna, cans of soup, and mac and cheese cups. If you're not attending the State Central Committee, head to Gather and Grow mn.org. We'll drop that in the chat to find other volunteer opportunities or sign up to help at shopping a shift in Waconia or Watertown. We'll drop the link in the chat, as I said. Okay, thanks everybody for a great week. Happy Friday. Good luck this weekend in all the parades you're going to be walking and all the door knocking you're going to do. I look forward to seeing you all at the State Central Committee meeting tomorrow, and then we'll be back here Monday at 10:45. We got 109 days until the November 3rd midterm election. Let's go win this thing. Thanks, everybody.